meeting in Hibbing Public Schools, Wednesday, May 6, 2026 at 3:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time in the boardroom. I'd like to welcome everybody here. With that, we'll move to item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you wish.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With that, we'll go to item 3, public comment.
We have Stephanie Vessel here.
And you're aware of the time limits here?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Carey, Chair Berklich, and members of the board. My name is Stephanie Vessel. I'm a parent of a 3-year-old in the pre-K program and will be returning next year for the pre-K 4-year-old program at the Early Learning Center at Hibbing School. I'm speaking today on behalf of fellow pre-K parents and staff. We recently learned that Ms. Fusco is being reassigned to the high school for the 2026-2027 school year, and that Mr. Berg will serve as the sole administrator for both Washington Elementary and the Early Learning Center. We would like to express our concerns regarding this decision. Ms. Fusco is the only administrator with a degree in early childhood education, and we strongly believe her role should align with her specialized training and experience. Her daily presence, greeting students and families, assisting with drop-offs, and providing support to children has had a meaningful and positive impact on our school community. We are also concerned about the practicality of having one principal oversee multiple locations. Will families feel heard and supported when questions or concerns arise? Will staff receive timely administrative support when situations occur? Will staff feel adequately supported in their roles? It is our understanding that Washington ELC has previously operated under a single principal model, which proved ineffective and ultimately led to Ms. Fusco's hiring due to her specialized qualifications. Why are we returning to that structure? Was this decision made solely at the administrative level? And is the school board fully aware of Ms. Fusco's background and expertise? With many changes already planned for the 2026-2027 school year, we respectfully ask to reconsider this decision. Ms. Fusco has been an exceptional leader, a dedicated principal, and a strong role model for the Early Learning Center. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 4, administrative reports.
And we have Greenhaven Elementary.
Yeah.
What we're asked to do today is just to come in and kind of give you a little bit of heads up. This is our leadership group from Greenhaven, which is also part of the district leadership group. Miss Wright, Miss Ford, Miss Pangrak, we have Miss Gabrielson, and am I missing Miss Grunewald, who are also a part of this. And so what we wanted to do today was just kind of update everyone on where we're at as far as some of the goals we had at the beginning of the year and where we're at today. As you can see on the overhead, right now at the bottom, the test scores are not yet available, so you're looking at our MCA tests or our fast version, those things we're in the process of actually testing right now. The MCAs are over. One of those tests, I believe it is the reading, will not be available until like next fall, into the fall a little bit, which really doesn't help us a heck of a lot. The math scores are more readily available, but again, this is for our sake, these tests aren't available. So we're just in general looking at kind of the things we wanted to do and what we've accomplished so far at Greenhaven. Did we decide what we're doing? All right, push that a little bit.
All right, so literacy framework. So our MTSS, or our win time as we call it, used to be called RTI. So win time within our literacy framework and MTSS model is a dedicated block where students receive targeted reading support or enrichment based on real-time data. It's helped us to be intentional with instruction, though we're still building consistency and confidence in how we run it. Provided focused, data-driven instruction that better meets individual students' needs. Created flexibility to support both intervention and enrichment during the same block. Strengthened team collaboration around student progress while we continue refining and getting more comfortable with implementation. And then next year with us going to the Lincoln, we have already set our wind schedules for fall 2026.
Okay,
SW.
okay. So we're right in the middle of our, oh, perfect. Okay. We're in the middle of our spring test window for FastBridge. So that supports our decision-making throughout the year by giving us clear and consistent insight into students' performance and growth. So we're learning what they've learned and what they're ready to learn by looking at the data. And we get that data instantly as soon as they're done with the test, so we can do interventions and get started with what we need to right away. It helps us to identify student needs early and continue to progress monitor, and we have help with our special education and title staff with that. And we work together as a team to decision-making during our data meetings and grade level collaboration. This helps us support our tier 2 and 3 students and have some consistent interventions with those. And has given us increased accountability by allowing us to track their growth and measure the impact of the instruction. And like I said, we're right in the middle of our window and trying to make sure that we're all seeing some growth as we finish up the school year.
Collaborative linked teams training on tier 2 and 3. This helps us improve stronger collaboration through the collaborative linked teams, leading to more consistent problem solving and shared ownership of student outcomes. Earlier and more targeted interventions as staff better understand tier 2 and tier 3 supports before moving to SPED referrals. Improved clarity in the referral process, reducing unnecessary or premature special education evaluations. Increased staff confidence and capacity from focused training, especially in identifying and supporting struggling students. And better alignment between general education and special education, resulting in more cohesive support systems for students.
Take Ms. Gabrielson's spot.
I'll jump in.
Okay.
Couple things about what they've mentioned so far. A lot of this is still a work in progress too. I will say the tier 1 and or tier 2 and tier 3 areas have been one of the areas that I think for us have been the most beneficial from what I've seen over the years. We've been able to sit down with 3 or 4 teachers, all our SPED staff, support staff, and work with each other to figure out ways to help individual students before we have to look at a SPED referral. And for that reason, we've been able to help a lot of those students stay out of SPED and get them support they need before that and turn some things around. So that's a big plus for the district as a whole and for the students. The SEL and mental health, Rhonda Gabrielson is obviously our main go-to here. And also we have used, obviously our library, you're here actually, there she is, for a lot of this instruction. So Everyday Speech is used as our core tier 1 SEL curriculum in grades 2 and 3. It's delivered weekly by our library specialist during scheduled library time. Each lesson was consistent across classrooms and follow-up activities available to classroom teachers to reinforce. The program created alignment between SEL instruction and daily classroom expectations, giving students repeated exposure. For Tier 2 and Tier 3, special education staff use targeted lessons for groups or individual students with tools like video monitoring, or modeling, IEP goal support, and progress monitoring. Based on a strong implementation of staff usability, we plan to continue to expand this next year. We're going to continue to use Everyday Speech, and when we're at Lincoln next year, hopefully we'll just keep building on this. Again, it's another very good program that's helped us out a lot. This is, yes,
Well, I was part of the math curriculum team. We chose Reveal curriculum. So this year our K1 teachers implemented the new standards. Next year our second grade teachers will, and then the following year third grade will. And that's where I'm third grade. With our new Reveal curriculum, it aligns, I think, a lot better with our new standards that are going to be put in place.
I'll just read the slides. Ensure alignment between grade levels and clear learning targets for students. Give teachers a consistent framework and pacing for instruction. Supported deeper conceptual understanding alongside skill development. Provided strong instructional resources and built-in supports for differentiation. Improved consistency in math instruction across classrooms and grade levels.
This one I'll speak to the teacher evaluation model. Again, it was a huge change from what we did before. And it really did increase involvement between teachers and the principal through the evaluation process. How it used to basically work is we had our iPads or our laptops, we'd walk into a classroom and there would be a list of, I don't even remember, 30 things we went through. And we just kind of checked things off. It was not useful. I don't think it didn't really give anybody a lot of feedback. It didn't help a lot. This changed everything. We met with everybody. We should focus to continuous teacher growth and improvement, not just final ratings. Emphasize collaboration, working together to identify strengths and areas for development. Replace the previous checklist model with a more meaningful, reflective conversation. And we created opportunities for open, honest dialogue between teachers and administration. So again, this was kind of, well, not kind of, it was the first year we did this. There were some bumps just in how to implement it. It's involved, it's very involved, so it takes some time. And I know for me personally, I have a smaller group to deal with, and it was still involved. I know a lot of the other principals have a lot more teachers they have to deal with, because when you do this for tenured teachers, which you do every 3 years, you do 1 observation a year. But for non-tenured teachers, you do 3 observations a year. So any school that hires 3 or 4 brand new teachers, that could be 12, up to 12 observations, 3 for every teacher. That's a lot, and so it is involved. But again, I think the process we have right now is definitely in a much better situation than it had been previously. Yeah. Last thing, unless you have questions, you may have seen this on our posts, our social media posts, but right now Greenhaven will be having a celebration, and this is the invite to all of you board members and to the superintendent and the business manager if you would like to attend, and anyone else for that matter. But on Thursday, May 21st, we are going to have a celebration of the 71 years of Greenhaven serving students and families. What that will look like is still kind of in the process of being developed. One of the things that we are going to do, and you probably saw that, is we do have a time capsule that we found that was from the year 2000-2001's second grade class of Mr. Carney's. It is in my office. It's been sitting there for a while. I've had a lot of interesting conversations with students who have came into my office for various reasons and wanted to say, who is that and what's that and why do those kids look so weird? And I'm like, well, this was back in 2000. You should see my second grade picture. You want to see weird. But it's been really interesting, and so I'm excited as anybody to see what's in there and get that opened up. We have invited and are getting feedback from that class. I did put in the message I put out there, I wanted them to contact Roberta, my administrative assistant, and she believed she has had 3 or 4 phone calls from that class already. So we're hoping that kind of gets spread out and we can see a number of those students back. Yeah?
If you want to hear some good ones, I was in that first class in 1955.
Yeah, that time capsule's long gone.
I can tell you more stories.
Yeah, and yeah, so, again, I think it is a celebration. It's a sad situation, we all know that. None of us want to see that school close. But we also have to celebrate the fact that it did bring great joy and great things to an awful lot of kids and teachers and families over the years. And so that's what we want to make this. We don't want to make this a sad situation. We want to make this a celebration and a thank you to everyone who has been there and is there. And yeah, it's tough leaving, but also it's a situation that I think we can all say it's been a great place to be, and it's been awesome for all the kids. And I think that's the way we want to make sure we leave it when we walk out of there. So
I just want to say thank you so much to the Greenhaven staff. Talk about resiliency. You have a building that is closing, that we're all sad about closing, and to turn it into something positive and the celebration is just, it really says a lot about the staff and the people that work there, that this is how you've chosen to handle this and to celebrate. So I truly appreciate all of that.
All right, yeah,
Can you go back to your first slide?
I sure can. I think I can.
If the teachers could give examples of what they talked about, I mean, I hear what you're saying, I'm reading it on there, but I need a better picture of what that actually,
Oh, wind time itself.
well, the wind time, the other, each one spoke about something different, but you give me an example of that data and how you discovered, that student is ready or isn't ready, like, what does that look like? Because I guess hearing it doesn't really tell me much, so.
Go ahead, Ms. Painter.
So I do wind time with Mrs. Stolinovich and Mrs. Gans. And I do, so we have Sped gets their reading, Title gets theirs. I'm doing the next level, and then Mrs. Stolinovich, then Mrs. Gans. And my group, just speaking for mine alone, I've seen like they could barely read at the beginning of the year, and now they're reading pretty close to grade level. So speaking to mine, it's gone pretty well. And Mrs. Gans, I think, really enjoys kind of pushing them a little bit further. And, yeah.
It's, what I've seen when I've gone in there, just so you know, is you see a leveled situation, obviously, where students are getting instruction and at the level they're at. Obviously, there's movement, there can be movement throughout those levels. If a student moves up, great, they move up and we bump them into that next level, they go to with the other teacher and they move into that instructional level. So with everything we're doing with that and the tier 2 and tier 3 things, we're definitely getting way more support than we have before for a lot of the kids that are struggling. And the kids that are advanced are also getting pushed too at that top level, which is what we've talked about that before, but we don't want to miss that. We need to push them too. So.
If you want me to speak for third grade,
Yep.
Once we place our kids in their respective like SPED or title services, as far as like our third grade block went, we actually had all readers in our classrooms. So like with me, I had like kind of the lower level readers, but they were reading close to grade level. So with them, I mean, for me personally, I was working on more fluency stuff with them, and then moving out of that and working on more comprehension stuff. And then it was more specific with comprehension and those skills and strategies to comprehend, and instead of learn to read, it's reading to learn. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
Kelly presenting?
She's separate.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's not enough room up there right now.
She didn't get to join our group. Did you want, anybody have anything else? All right, thank you, and I hope to see all of you at our celebration. You guys can go ahead.
This is still part of the Green Haven group.
I'd like to get a copy of you, just so you know.
I was just asked to speak for something positive. Back in September, I applied for a grant with Lake Country Power, their education improvement program, and I received a grant for $10,200 to upgrade our technology, some of our technology, our Ozobots. These are codable robots that we use in the classroom, and we got these several years ago. And we're now just to the point, they're wearing out, their sensors don't work anymore, the kids are frustrated trying to use them because they can program them to do certain actions and do certain things that they respond to color codes. And it's great to teach the kids how to understand that they're the ones giving the iPad instruction, they're not just watching something on the iPad, they're creating the content that makes the iPad work. And using these, you can use these with the iPads or without. So I've ordered some curriculum, well, for second and third grade, since back in September, that's the grade I was working with. And I'm hoping to eventually, now that I'm moving to the Lincoln next year, expand this for fourth and fifth grade as well. So I just wanted to share that.
How exciting that we have second and third graders working on coding.
High school is up next.
All right.
leadership team, just a reminder of everyone that is a part of our high school leadership team. A number of these teachers are not with us this afternoon. They are in a separate meeting this afternoon. So we do have Mrs. Jensen here, but just a quick recap of some of the priorities that we have had. Our tier 2 and 3 meetings have gone very well this year. We had 14 students throughout the year that we brought to our tier 2 meetings. 4 of them ended up elevating to a tier 3 referral. Of those 4, 3 of them ended up qualifying for special education services, and 1 of them is still being evaluated. But I think it kind of just goes to show the conversations, the interventions, the supports that we had in place, and then being able to recognize when it is the correct time to make that move to tier 3. It's nice to have those tier 2 meetings because we're able to bring in a lot of the different supports and talk about what are the specific needs of that child. Is it academic? Is it attendance? Is it mental health? And then kind of pool our resources, so to speak, and come up with plans for those students. Fast bridge testing that we are in the process of doing to finish out spring, as well as MCAs. We just are wrapping up the science MCAs right now. And then Ms. Biesman could probably speak more to the CAPD testing that she did. I have less information about that, but she did work with some of our English teachers to complete some of that. We've talked about the personal learning plans and the Naviance program that will be in place formally for our students and staff and families to use next school year, but that's just kind of an ongoing training that we've had with our counselors and we'll continue to work through over the summer and be prepared to really kind of dive in with staff next fall. And then as Mr. Vestal spoke to the teacher development and evaluation model, I don't know, for me, it's been a really great opportunity being new to this building to be able to have conversations with those teachers and kind of get to know them on a more one-to-one level. You know, you're in a staff meeting and you know, you see them in the hallway, but to really be able to sit down and dedicate some time to having a conversation, see what they're doing in the classroom, just be able to get to know people better. It's been a really nice way to do that. We put on there additional priorities, right? Because we've had a little shift here this spring, and so this is where a lot of our attention has been focused this spring. Our incoming 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students, and looking at how we're building 6th and 7th grade for our students. So we have tours coming up. We're really excited about that. We have a separate morning for each grade level where they'll be coming over, and our student council members will help to provide our students kind of small group tours of the building, let them know where things are at, see certain faces, try to become a little bit more comfortable in this building. So we're excited about that. And then we had one middle school committee meeting that went very well, and we have another one that we are working to just communicate the details out, but we have that tentatively on deck.
And is that meeting just with staff, or is that for community?
The middle school committee meeting was for anyone that wanted to be a part of that. So we had parents, we had students, we had staff, administration that were all present at our last meeting. There were maybe 40-ish
42 people?
Yeah, people there.
So when is the next meeting?
I just got it on the calendar.
Yeah.
I was gonna send out the invites. We just talked about this yesterday. I wanna say it is, let me see,
19th?
That's what I was
19th.
gonna say.
19th.
So Tuesday, May 19th.
So I'll get those sent out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Would you please include the board on these as well?
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely. It was a really nice opportunity to sit down and kind of talk about what we know, but then also kind of brainstorm. What are your questions? What are your thoughts? Put those things down on paper, so then we're able to kind of look at what those ideas, thoughts, questions are, and then when we have this next meeting, be able to really address those things as much as we can at this point. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so before I even jump into the upcoming stuff and stuff that's happened, more on that committee and the whole process we've been going through this spring. It's been, not gonna lie, it's been an undertaking, getting ready for 2 more grades here. We've been working really hard on the schedule for next year. We give a lot of kudos to the 2 counselors. They, are very educated in this, so they've been very detrimental or helpful, I should say, in working with us in this. We got it all done. I have to put a huge thank you, kudos to Amy Mann for coming back and helping us with the Power School side of it. She was able to rebuild everything back so the school is set up for 6 through 12 next year. We implement the schedule, get it all in place, because then all the kids are registered. We still have to do some stuff with the younger grades, but for the most part, the high school kids 8 through 12 are all registered. And then those kids get dumped into the schedule based on what they wanted to take. And then it puts it all in there. But now the counselors have to go through each kid individually to see if schedules are full, if they got what they wanted, if classes, they start to balance the classes, so it's a lot of work. So they've been going to town on that, along with the scholarship night that's coming up on May 11th, and the soldiers are working hard at that, and that's next Monday. So between those 2 big things, that's been a lot of our last month and a half, and it'll continue to be what we really have to work on the next month. But you can see, beyond that, we have some other things going on. We had a band concert last night. The Pops concert, which is our choir, is Friday, May 29th, the last day of school. Prom was finished up. That went over really well, especially thanks to Ms. Zubich, Ms. Kleiss, Ms. Lindstrom, and chaperones and students for that. That was a lot of fun this year. Inclusive prom we just had last Friday, Ms. Jensen and Ms. Crow. That was like, we came to that for a while. That's a ton of fun, those kids. I just talked about awards night. We got National Honor Society induction on the 26th, and then of course graduation June 5th. Ms. Escalade and Ms. Fox are working hard at that, making sure everything's good to go there. So we have a lot going on, a lot coming up. It's that time of the year. So yeah, here's some pictures from the dances we had, the 8th, 9th, 10th, 4th, that's the inclusive prom, so they can see the fun that was had and all that fabulous decorations and stuff is the talented Ms. Lindstrom, Dana.
So all of our students got to appreciate the time, the energy, the effort that students and staff put into that stage from prom, again, at our inclusive prom and the 8th and 9th grade semi-formal dance. Great events.
Questions for us?
I just want to say thank you. I'm sitting here going, wow, it feels like we just made this transition and it's May, and the 2 of you, if there's anything I can do, we can do as a board to support this, because as you said, now there's more change, and it's just, if there's anything we can do to support it.
It's appreciated. I would say, again, just an extra special, thank you to our counselors, to be able to lean on them and their expertise building the schedule. That is something that was brand new to me. And their willingness to kind of teach me instead of just doing it. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
So Jen, I'm sorry. No, so is that something in the future that you would be doing?
No, but it's nice to work alongside and learn with them versus someone just doing and, so yeah.
We'll always do it together.
Yes.
Okay.
Just, it's a huge thing, so the more of us putts with it and doing it, working on it together, because then we send out get the schedule figured out on paper with the teachers and their hours, and send it out by department to them to take a look at, and then they come back with, I'd better teach this, she can teach that, make some tweaks. Then, everything seems to be okay, then I send out the whole schedule to the whole staff, and then all of a sudden there's some more tweaks that come sliding back in that they want to make, and then you get to the point where you load the kids then, so we'll load the kids, put the kids, all their stuff that they're registered for, and it shoots out a schedule that's nowhere near right. One kid could have 4 classes, one could have full load, you have one classroom with 40 kids and one with 10. That's where we have to start going through now, level everything off and figure out who gets what, and then you get into seniority. If you have an elective, obviously your seniors, juniors, they get that elective first, they get the way down. So all that stuff's going on now. So it's a lot, and with the change, it just brought that much more on. So we still have our 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade kids we sent out links for them to register. They don't have a lot of options, but we still have, I bet 2/3 of them registered. So we're gonna have to make a push, maybe go there, or when they come here, have them finish up that registration. Our counselors will kind of, instead of loading them in, they'll just hand you their schedules. This will all be pretty self-explanatory. I mean, their options really are choir, band, since we have a shop. The nice thing about going with the 6 through 12 is we'll be able to start, this year just kind of get it done. And now we'll still start to look at how do we want the map to look from 6 through 12. It's like our foreign languages, our shops, our everything. We can start now as a future, as we build into next year, look at how we want that all to be laid out. So we kind of did what we thought this year, but like I told the staff, this is all going to be kind of new. Even us coming here this year was kind of new. I mean, we learned a lot this year, so we're not going to say next year walking here everything's going to be perfect. We'll just adjust as we go.
I think when you think about the last 4 months, and I was going to call it a war at first, but I'm not going to say that. A journey, the journey we've been on over the last 4 months, the administrative team, from all the principals to, to the activities director, all the directors, everybody, business manager. Our admin agenda now has like 23 items on it because we just keep rolling every Sunday night.
We'd like her to delete a couple
Yeah.
items. It looks like we're accomplishing things, but yeah.
But the tasks and the projects that they have taken on and accomplished in 4 months, and when you think about it, just in the last month since we made the final decision, it has been a tremendous amount of work, and I know we still have a lot of work to do and stuff, but like my anxiety for moving into next fall is so much less than it was 2 months ago, because we have put in the hard work and the time to build the systems for success. And like they said, there's things that we're going to need to improve upon, and we might do differently at a different time, but I mean, the work that has been put in by our administrative team, our teachers, everybody, over the past 4 months has been incredible, and I'm very proud of all of the work they've done.
And we just talked to the deal, we're like, we got to try to juggle it, step back from it a little bit, and enjoy these next 3 weeks with kids, because we're at the end of the school year.
And
So
that's exactly
Yeah, so
the
it's stuff like
pictures,
this.
right? It's this
Yep.
kind of stuff, and being in the hallway at the end of the day or in the mornings, getting to see our students. That is always first and foremost, so trying to find that balance, but yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know, obviously, I don't know what that list looks like and what your personal wish list is and whatnot, but I hope everybody knows that we can't do it all right away, and that's okay, because there is a max. And if we want to do things right and put the time that those top priorities deserve, you can't flood it with everything. And I know everybody, wants to accomplish everything, but I just hope everybody on our admin team, especially Carrie as the superintendent, just knows, I don't think anybody would fault anybody if we didn't get everything that we wanted done immediately. So just, I want people to also not burn themselves out.
Thank you.
Student director, I think we skipped over him, I'm so sorry.
No, it's not.
Director Sam, I'll take the vote for that. Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, basically just bouncing off what they said. The students, we're doing a lot. We've got a lot coming up. Yeah, we've got the scholarship night on the 18th, the NHS induction on the 26th, the choir concert on the 29th, and the entrepreneurship club, they're going on a field trip on the 13th, so we're going to the local businesses and seeing what they have ready for us. And we've also got pretty close graduation on June 5th, and with that there will be the all-night grad party, and that will be at the Lincoln after graduation. And I'm going to refer to Ms. Gabarty. She has a lot more information on that.
I just wanted to mention that kids can buy their tickets online right now, and pre-sale is $25, so save money, get it before the day of, because at the door they're $40. But lots of food, fun, activities, prizes for everybody, so. Yeah. And we're always looking for volunteers, so we'll be sending that out.
So do we have any idea our graduating class size, what we're looking at for this year? Welcome. Sorry.
No.
And I know it changes.
I think we have 158 seniors, correct?
There are 151 seniors right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
No, that will be it, Mr. Director. Thank you.
With that, we'll move to any committee reports.
Chair,
Go ahead.
I don't know if this is exactly a committee report. I'm not sure where on the agenda it fits. But I want to bring this up. Superintendent McDonald and I have had multiple conversations. And I think we've been working really hard in terms of transparency. And one of the things that I would like to do is, as a district, continue conversations with our community. Because I think there's still many unanswered questions, misinformation. I'm not sure how we want to characterize it, but you know, the work of this board has been difficult, and it's not unlike boards from across Minnesota, across the Iron Range. And we were at a really good presentation at Minnesota Discovery Center. That was a couple of weeks ago. And as we were talking, I would love to be able to bring in the person from the IRRB who gave some just incredible information about the demographics of our taconite tax area. I would love to bring in anybody that can help us answer questions about what happened. I mean, we have nothing to hide. We acted the way a responsible board should act. And I feel as though sometimes when you bring people in from the outside, they're perceived as experts. And so I just would like to do that, to continue the conversation in our community, have two-way dialogue, because I feel as though there's going to be a point in time that we have to work with our community, and it's part of the rebuilding trust. And I would love to facilitate that. I know we don't need to add any more items to the list. I'm certainly willing to help coordinate that, do that, invite other board members. I just believe we need to continue the dialogue and answer questions, because if we're silent, it makes it feel like there's answers that we have that we're not sharing with people, and that is not the case. And if it means bringing in our auditor, bringing in our business manager, whoever we might want to bring in, I really want to do that, because this board has worked really hard since November, and we've made some tough decisions, and I think our community deserves as many answers as we can provide them with. So I just don't know where we go with that, but I would like to do it sooner than later. And I even see information on Facebook today that is not accurate at all. So I don't even know if it's through community ed and doing these little like school board, school district boot camp type trainings where we can do different conversations to help our community understand the complexity of what we're dealing with. And I'm willing to help. I don't want to push it on anybody, but I would just really like us to think about that and move forward as quickly as we can.
Okay, thank you for that. Then we'll move to item 5, a motion to approve the agenda. We're going to pull item C from that agenda.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Kim. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 6, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Moved by Director Jeff, supported by Director Sarah. Any discussion?
Chair,
Go ahead.
I do have one question. G2, our plumber, that posting expired April 15th. I know I keep asking about that because when we get the register of checks, it seems like that's always a big number. So I'm just curious, do we have any applicants? Are we?
Yes, we do. We have one applicant, and the interview is set up for Monday, May 11th.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All in favor, say aye.
I just have one question while Tyler's here. Are we doing a part-time electrician for them?
We have a current electrician who is going to be down to 24 hours. Yes.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. With that, we'll move to item 7, administrative business. Lance?
Okay, motion to approve the application for student accident insurance with Student Assurance Services from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. This is a voluntary insurance for students that maybe not have insurance and they'd like to have some for the school year and school activities.
So I'll make a motion.
Full support.
Moved by Director James, supported by Director Jeff. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Do we have, how many students actually sign up for this every year?
I didn't look at last year's because I wasn't here, but in other districts that use this, it's usually maybe only a dozen to 2 dozen students, but it is important for those families to have that option.
Because don't students have to have some sort of insurance in order to participate in athletics, or do we have to offer this as an opportunity? Or maybe
We offer this as an opportunity. I don't get insurance cards for every registered.
Okay.
Now, say all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item B, motion to approve the school marketing program agreement with Northridge Community Credit Union effective July 1st, 2026. And this is a school logo program with the credit union. They would put the school's logo on a debit card for anybody that would want to. And then the school district would receive funds when those debit cards are used at 2 cents per transaction, up to a maximum of a $500 donation that would come from the credit union once it hits $500.
Is that a monthly thing or annual thing?
It would accrue up until $500, and once it hits that, it pays out and then it starts over again.
So when reading through this, number one, I thought it was very cool that a local bank here, a credit union, offers such a program. And, you know, a good way for them to give back to the community. In reading through it, I did have a question here. It does say, under the what we need from the school, it says direction on where donated funds should be applied. General funds, specific school, athletics, arts, STEM programs, PTO, PTA, or other needs. So I'm curious on what we are going to be selecting of where we want those funds to be applied.
Well, this opportunity came to the desk from the Career Academy, and so the Career Academy would like to have these funds.
And then my other question around it is, and do we know of any other local banking facility that also does this? And if there is somebody, this, because we're doing it with them, does not prohibit us from doing it with somebody else, would it?
I don't
would
see
feel like
anything in
we
the
give
contract
it
that says
to as many.
it's exclusive.
And they actually came to us and asked, so we welcome anyone that wants to come to us.
Yeah, no, I thought this was really nice.
I'll make a motion to accept the program agreement.
Full support.
Moved by Director Mike, supported by Director Jeff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now I think we'll have Director Jeff do the resolutions.
Item C, motion to adopt a resolution placing a continuing contract tenured teacher Matthew Anderson on unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 1.0 FTE. Resolution placing a continuing contract tenured Matthew Anderson on unrequested leave of absence upon acquiescence of such placement. Whereas the school board of ISD 701 adopted a resolution proposing placement of Matthew Anderson on unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 1.0 FTE on April 8, 2026 on the grounds of lack of pupils and financial limitations. And whereas the district served written notice of Matthew Anderson's proposed
placement on ULA and pursuant on April 9, 2026. And whereas said written notice stated the reasons for the proposed placement and that Matthew Anderson was entitled to a hearing before the school board, provided he make a request in writing, in writing within 14 days of receipt of said notice, and that if no hearing was requested within said 14-day period, it would be deemed to be acquiescence by Matthew Anderson to the school board's proposed actions. And whereas no written request for a hearing was received by the school board or superintendent of schools from Matthew Anderson for a hearing as of April 23, 2026, and whereas said failure to make written request for a hearing within 14 days after receipt of notice of proposed placement or unrequested leave constitutes acquiescence by Matthew Anderson to said placement on unrequested leave. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 701 that Matthew Anderson be and hereby is placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits to the extent of 1.0 FTE. The special education teacher of Independent School District 701 on the grounds of lack of pupils and financial limitations effective at the end of the 2025-2026 school year on June 3, 2026. This is a final action by the school board. We have further resolved that a notice of placement on unrequested leave together with a copy of this resolution shall be forwarded to the said teacher personally, whereas otherwise provided in the master agreement between Independent School District 701 and the Hibbing educators, and then an affidavit of same shall be placed in the teacher's personnel file together with a copy of the notice and resolution and a declaration stating how the notice of this resolution is provided to you. The motion for this adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by Director
Director Chair, seconded, and with the resolutions, I'm going to call on a roll call for every resolution. Excuse me.
Yes.
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 And the chair would see it, so it's unanimous. Thank you. Next.
Four more to go.
Read fast. I said read fast.
I can't.
Okay.
Really. Item D, motion to adopt a resolution placing a continuing contract tenured teacher Jennifer Hippner on unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 1.0 FTE. Resolution placing a continuing contract tenured teacher Jennifer Hippner on unrequested leave of absence upon acquiescence of such placement. Whereas the School Board of Independent School District 701 adopted a resolution proposing placement of Jennifer Hippner on unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 1.2 FTE on April 8, 2026 on the grounds of lack of pupils and financial limitations. And whereas the district sent written notice of Jennifer Hippner proposed placement on ULA to her personally on April 9, 2026. Whereas said written notice stated the reasons for the proposed placement and that Jennifer Hippner was entitled to a hearing before the school board, provided she make a request in writing within 14 days of receipt of said notice. And if no hearing was requested within said 14-day period, it would be deemed to be acquiescence by Jennifer Hippner to the school board's proposed action. And whereas no written request for a hearing was received by the school board or superintendent of schools from Jennifer Hippner from the hearing as of January 23rd, 2026. Whereas said failure to make written request for a hearing within 14 days after receipt of said notice, proposed placement unrequested leave constitutes acquiescence by Jennifer Hippner to said placement on unrequested leave. Now therefore be hereby resolved by the School Board of ISD number 701 for Jennifer Hippner be and hereby is placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits to the extent of 1.0 FTE as a media specialist of Independent School District 701 on the grounds of lack of pupils and financial limitations effective at the end of the 2025-2026 school year on June 3, 2026. This is a final action by the school board. You further resolve that a notice of placement on ULA unrequested leave of absence together with a copy of this resolution shall be forwarded to said teacher personally or as otherwise provided in the master agreement to the Independent School District 701 and Hibbing educators, and that an affidavit of said same shall be placed in the teacher's personnel file, together with a copy of the notice and resolution and a declaration stating how the notice and this resolution was provided to him or her. The motion for the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by Director.
The chair will second it. With that, Kim, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Chair is yes. Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Should the ladies first, but that's okay.
Resolution placing a continuing contract tenured teacher Ryan Wilson on unrequested leave of absence upon acquiescence of such placement. Whereas the School Board of Independent School District Number 701 adopted a resolution proposing placement of Ryan Olson on an unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 1.0 FTE on April 8, 2026 on the grounds of lack of pupils and financial limitations, and whereas the district served written notice of Ryan Wilson proposed placement on ULA to him personally on April 9, 2026, and whereas said written notice stated the reasons for the proposed placement and that Ryan Olson was entitled to a hearing before the school board provided he make a request in writing within 14 days of receipt of said notice, and if no hearing was requested within said 14-day period, it would be deemed to be acquiescence by Ryan Olson to the school board's proposed actions. And whereas no written request for a hearing was received by the school board or superintendent of schools from Ryan Olson for a hearing as of April 23, 2026, and whereas said failure to make written requests for a hearing within 14 days after receipt of notice of proposed placement on unrequested leave constitutes acquiescence by Ryan Olson to said placement on unrequested leave. Now therefore be it Ryan Olson be hereby is placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits to the extent of 1.0 FTE as a social studies teacher of Independent School District 701 on the grounds of lack of pupils and financial limitations, effective at the end of the 25-26 school year on June 3rd, 2026. This is a final action by the school board. Be it further resolved that a notice of placement on unrequested leave together with a copy of this resolution shall be forwarded to said teacher personally or otherwise provided in the master agreement between Independent School Number 701 and Hibbing United Educators, and that affidavit of same shall be placed in the teacher's personnel file, together with a copy of the notice and resolution and a declaration stating how the notice and this resolution was provided to them. The motion for the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by Director.
The chair will second it. With that, Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
It's unanimous, thank you.
Item F, motion to adopt the resolution placing a continuing contract tenured teacher Shannon Rocco on unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 0.4 FTE. Resolution placing a continuing contract tenured teacher Shannon Rocco on unrequested leave of absence upon acquiescence of such placement. Whereas the school board of ISD 701 adopted a resolution proposing the placement of Shannon Rocco on unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 0.4 FTE on April 8, 2026 on the grounds of lack of pupils and financial limitations. And whereas the district served written notice of Shannon Rocco's proposed placement on ULA to her person on April 9, 2026. And whereas said written notice stated the reason for the proposed placement and that Shannon Rocco was entitled to a hearing before the school board provided she make a request in writing within 14 days of receipt of said notice. And that if no hearing was requested within said 14-day period, it would be deemed to be acquiescence by Shannon Rocco to the school board's proposed action. And whereas no written request for a hearing was received by the school board for superintendent of schools from Shannon Rocco for a hearing as of April 23, 2026. And whereas said failure to make written requests for a hearing within 14 days after receipt of notice of proposed placement on unrequested leave constitutes acquiescence by Shannon Rocco to said placement upon unrequested leave. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the school board of ISD number 701 that Shannon Rocco be and hereby is placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits to the extent of 0.4 FTE as a science teacher of Independent School District 701 and the ground of lack of pupils and financial limitations effective at the end of the school year on June 3, 2026. This is the final action by the school board. Be it further resolved that a notice of placement on requested leave together with a copy of this resolution shall be forwarded to said teacher personally, who is otherwise providing a master agreement between ISD number 701 and Hibbing educators, and an affidavit to save shall be placed in the teacher's personnel file together with a copy of the notice, the resolution, and a declaration stating how this notice and this resolution is provided to her. The motion for the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by Director
Chair will support.
John.
With that, Kim, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Chair? Yes. Unanimous, thank you.
Item F, resolution placing a continuing contract tenure community education director.
G.
Oh, sorry. Resolution placing a continuing contract tenured community education director Kirk Lewis on unrequested leave of absence upon acquiescence of such placement. Whereas the School Board of Independent School District number 701 adopted a resolution proposing placement of Kirk Lewis on unrequested leave of absence to the extent of 0.4 FTE on April 8, 2026 on the grounds of lack of pupils and financial limitations. And whereas this district served written notice of Kirk Lewis' proposed placement on ULA to him personally on April 9, 2026, and whereas said written notice stated the reasons for the proposed placement and that Kirk Lewis was entitled to a hearing before the school board provided he make a request in writing within 14 days of receipt of said notice, and that if no hearing was requested within said 14-day period, it would be deemed to be acquiescence by Kirk Lewis to the school board's proposed actions. And whereas no written request for a hearing was received by the school board or superintendent of schools from Kirk Lewis for a hearing as of April 23, 2026, and whereas said failure to make a written request for a hearing within 14 days after receipt of notice of proposed placement on unrequested leave constitutes acquiescence by Kirk Lewis to said placement on unrequested leave. Now therefore it be hereby resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 701 that Kirk Lewis be and hereby is placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits to the extent of 0.4 FTE as a Community Education Director of Independent School District number 701 on the grounds of lack of pupils and financial limitations effective at the end of the 25-26 school year on June 30th, 2026. This is the final action by the school board. Be it further resolved that a notice of placement on unrequested leave together with a copy of this resolution shall be forwarded to said Community Education Director personally or otherwise provided in a master agreement between Independent School District number 701 and the Hibbing Administrative Unit, and that an affidavit of same shall be placed in the Community Ed Director's personnel file together with a copy of this notice and resolution and a declaration stating how the notice in this resolution was provided to him. The motion for the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by Director.
The chair will support it and vote yes. Director Jeff?
Yes.
Director Mike?
Yes.
Director Sarah?
Yes.
Director Kim?
Yes.
It's unanimous, thank you. With that, we'll move to item H. Would you like to?
We're going to have a presentation by Superintendent Carey, so we will move to item H.
Before we begin this presentation, I want to acknowledge the reality of where we are as a district and as a community. Over the past several months, our students, staff, families, and community members have experienced difficult changes, including the painful decision to close an elementary school and the reduction of several staff members. We understand that any conversation about facilities and funding comes with understandable emotions, questions, and concerns. Today's discussion is about a building project at Hibbing High School and is not separate from those realities. It is connected to our responsibility to thoughtfully position our district for the future. The opportunity to utilize IRRR funding provides us with a unique chance to invest in educational spaces that directly support student opportunities, workforce readiness, and a long-term community sustainability without placing the full financial burden on local taxpayers. This project is focused on creating modern, functional learning environments that align with the needs of today's students and tomorrow's workforce, particularly in areas such as career and technical education, including welding, automotive, manufacturing, and other hands-on career pathways,
while also improving spaces that support the arts. My goal is to share information transparently, explain the opportunities and the challenges before us, and begin an important conversation about how we continue moving our district forward during a very difficult time. While we cannot undo the hardship many have felt this year, we can work together to ensure that the decisions we make now create meaningful opportunities for students for many years to come. Building for the future. So the project that we're going to talk about today is an opportunity for students, not just about space. We are aligning our facilities with real-world learning and career pathways. At the same time, we are being thoughtful and responsible with our resources. I'm going to go over some of the project highlights. I'm going to start out with art. So art is essential for a well-rounded education. Our current challenges that we face at the high school is limited space and storage, and it is not designed for a variety of mediums. Proposed improvements include flexible studio spaces, proper storage and display areas, improved lighting and layout. And the impact this will have encourages creativity and expression, supports diverse learners, and enhances student engagement. This is a picture of the hot art classroom. I'm going to let Tyler tell you what hot art is.
Sure. Hot art is, we have 2 kilns that are located in that room, and then any kind of work she does with soldering, brazing, open flame.
So the picture on the upper half of the slide is the old space, and what it looks like in the drawing there is what the proposed new space will look like. You look at the upper right, you can see where that space is located.
So Carrie, is that down by the current art rooms across from where is it?
That's the current welding shop right now.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So it'd be a perfect fit.
Okay.
And is art a required class?
You have to have at least 1 credit in art, grades 9 through 12. But art can be music, it can be the visual arts.
So for hot art, do we get a lot of students wanting to be in this class?
Pottery is actually one of our
Potter's a
most
big one.
popular classes.
And I was going to kind of ask that in reverse, Sarah. Do we see many students leaving our school to take art classes, PSCO at the college?
I don't think so, no.
I think when you look at our electives, those are the classes kids are staying here to take, and so we need to make sure we stay up to date with the most modern equipment, spaces, so that we can continue to see those students stay here. This is the art classroom upgrade. And I'm sorry, your pages are not in the same order because I redid the presentation after we made the color copies, and I wanted to save money, so we didn't redo the color copies.
And so are these connected?
No, they're
No.
not.
They're not.
They're not.
And do we have to get approval from the state historical?
No, not for this.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's
So
okay.
because they're not connected, how does art work then? Like, is the hot art like a lab? I mean, that what I would call a lab, and then you are in the classroom before you go into that room, or what's the difference?
Like a pottery class might be happening at the same time as like a middle school art class.
Watercolor.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
And they're side by side.
Okay, moving on to choir. Our music programs are definitely a point of pride in Hibbing. Current challenges in our choir space are acoustics and space limitations, storage and rehearsal constraints. We are proposing improvements that would have acoustically appropriate rehearsal space, improve layout for large groups, storage for equipment and materials. And again, the impact would be stronger performances, better student experience, and a continued tradition of excellence. So this is a Lower left there is the old choir space, and this is a drawing of the new choir space, which is going to stay in the same location. I know back in December, there were some other options that were brought before the board, and we really gone back and tried to make sure that we could do this and stay under budget, and then also try to accommodate everyone's request as much as possible.
You know, and I have a question that might be a little bit off topic and maybe too early right now, but I remember last year at about this time, marching band was a big point of discussion. Do you know if they've started taking registrations for marching band?
Yeah,
And-
they have.
And how's our enrollment?
Beyond knowing that it's started, I don't have a number for you. He is expanding, he'd like to do a junior Jackets marching band and open it to the 6th and 7th grade and let them, I believe the one parade they take part in would be with us here at our hometown parade. But outside of that, I don't have a number, right? I think it just got underway, so.
Thank you.
Actually, Mr. Gabarty, Mr. Please and I met with Mr. Burke to kind of talk about some expectations and make sure that everyone's clear as far as what's marching band, what's pep band. We had an excellent meeting, and I was so impressed with his enthusiasm for this program. All right, moving on to the career and technical ed aspect of the project. So why should we focus on CTE? Career and technical ed is no longer optional, it is essential. High demand careers in our region include welding, manufacturing, and automotive technology. Many of these careers offer strong wages without requiring a 4-year degree. I think as we move on, we're gonna find that there are gonna be limited careers that require a 4-year degree. Our current spaces limit our ability to expand programming, to use modern equipment, and partner with local industry. Our welding space, current limitations, outdated equipment and layout, safety and ventilation concerns, limited student capacity. It is a very small space with a lot of equipment in it. Our proposed improvements include modern welding stations, updated ventilation and safety systems, space for industry standard equipment. And the impact again, increased student access, industry aligned training, stronger workforce readiness. There are many local schools in our area that have updated spaces, and we need to be able to compete and offer our students those same opportunities. Automotive space, current limitations again, insufficient space, limited ability to expand coursework. Proposed improvements would be the same, updated ventilation and safety systems, updated service bays, modern diagnostic equipment, space designed for hands-on learning. We would like the impact to be real-world, job-ready skills, opportunities for certifications, and strong partnerships with our local businesses. I will say, I would put our programming in our industrial tech department next to anybody, and now it's time that our space is the same. So this is the metals, welding, auto, and small engines and building construction space, and this is the old boiler building. So this is the updated space, what it would look like.
So quick question on here, and I guess I'm not observant enough right now every time I go by it, if it's already there or not, but here, this looks like it's possibly a door, like a garage door, is that true?
Yep.
Is there one there right now?
Yes, there is.
Oh, there's, okay, then my question doesn't matter, okay.
That's gonna be the new building construction area.
That garage door is out on the street, so if you drive by the street, you'll see that door.
Right.
Yep.
So like I said, I'm not observant, I don't know.
I'm glad you asked.
Well, my concern was like, again, not valid, but, you know, every time I leave here, you kind of creep out, and if that door is going to be utilized often, I was just going to ask about what safety measures we're putting there, but.
And what about our registrations for some of these industrial arts classes? I know last year.
We had to get creative with the schedule,
Yeah.
so we pushed welding and auto to second semester, because anticipating that this won't be ready September when we get here, so we pushed it back. But these classes are, she can put the numbers right now here on the computer, but they are generally full. Yeah, between these and then we have, of course, the Habitat House, that is, the building construction phase you saw in the corner, the phase 2 of that's doing the house. So those go together, the welding classes are, we have welding, basic welding, advanced welding, so they usually are pretty full. And now with being able, moving out there, it should grow the program because they're gonna be able to actually get into some more projects. They have the space to do it, like trailers and all that kind of stuff in the school, it can't, we just don't have the room or doors for stuff to move in and out.
And maybe not this year, right, because there's construction going
Yeah.
on, but I would envision like in the next years, having the younger kids.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking, we're about mapping out our school after this, yes.
And we actually are implementing a 7th grade
Seventh grade.
industrial tech next year.
And I just think that's so important because kids need to stay engaged. And if they're engaged in things they're interested in, they're gonna wanna be here. So I think that's really important.
So as an example, basic welding had 83 requests, 47 students identified it as an alternate, so 130 total requests for that. For the auto one, we had 48 total requests there.
So with the new space, do these classes get bumped to having more students, or does that stay the same as far as like for safety?
Still gonna have to stay within safety precautions and numbers, so that's where I said like the seniors are gonna get, it'll work its way down. So you might not get it at upper welding classes until you're a little older. We wanna do some more basic stuff though with the kids to get them hooked and interested in it. So.
And I think like safety measures are based on square footage and, you know, the number of people that in the room. So I think that it will be able to expand a little bit, but we're definitely not gonna shove 30 kids in a welding room.
Yeah, right.
And so like right now, again, next year is not, or fall is not gonna be representative of the construction, but as we look forward, is there any opportunity to do anything with, I'm gonna just use these words, creative scheduling, where we could expand the number of students somehow, or is the room physically used all day long? Or will it be?
It'll be used all day long, but we have like building construction 2 is off-site at the Habitat, so, you know, again, right now we're limited to the staff we have, right? We have 3 industrial tech staff, but it would be awesome to grow that program.
We could expand a little because you could have small engines and auto, that's 2 teachers. And if there's woods going on in the school, it's 3, then the welding shop's open. So you could have
If we
a
could get,
4th teacher if we have the money.
if we could get
funds
some
to do it.
grant funding to get
Yes.
some additional
You could
staff.
definitely do more.
And you know, being my involvement in the Career Academy, I can't explain enough how I truly believe the only way our high schools are going to survive is if we put a lot more focus on career and technical ed. Because that's where the jobs are, and that's the students that are typically staying here to take their classes. So it's important. Carpentry space, so the carpentry space is gonna stay inside of the building. In a perfect world, I would love to see us be able to expand this project and build another building next to the auto and welding shop where we could put all of the industrial tech out there. But we're doing very minimal upgrades inside to carpentry space. But it does have limited instructional space, outdated layout and storage areas, insufficient oversight, difficulty accommodating modern construction projects and collaborative work. And so we are looking at more of a flexible workspace, updated storage, connected spaces. Right now, Mr. Howard's classroom and his shop are not connected. And so they will be connected now in this, with this new project. So this is the carpentry classroom. Alternative learning, so currently out in the auto shop, as we call it, is the ALC and the weight rooms. The next 2 things I'm going to talk about are where those are going to be relocated and how that's going to be a part of this project. So our ALC classroom space will be relocated inside of the building. And it will be taking place after school hours, so I know there was some concern about that. It'll be taking place after school hours, and this is what their upgraded space is. And if any of you have been out to the ALC, we definitely need some upgrades to that space.
So this, because this is at night, is anything utilizing this space during the day?
I'm thinking there's the possibility that it's used for.
We'll be able to,
Yeah, like the
Right now, with the reconfiguration, everything, this space isn't accounted for to use yet. We have it, so we have this, we'll have a couple classrooms left up on the second floor. But other than that, we're pretty full, we're gonna be full.
Because I mean, this is just a drawing, I know, but I mean, it looks big.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So, I mean, why are we giving that specifically just to ALC and not maybe using it for a a class that maybe
We can.
We can.
use it for?
We
And
can
I think-
definitely use it.
I think this gives us possible growth in the future. If we do need more classroom spaces at the high school, this is definitely an opportunity. All right, talk about the weight room. I know this has been a conversation that's been out there. There's been talk about the weight room going where the old pool is. I am here to say this and be transparent. There is no plan at this time to relocate anything to the old pool area. And I say again, when we come together and do a strategic plan, those are the conversations we're gonna have. So the weight room is going to be and we're gonna call this a temporary location, but it's getting some pretty nice space for a temporary space. So it is going to be located in the old junior high wood shop area.
Directly below us.
We're gonna have rubber flooring in there, we're gonna paint, it's gonna be a nice space. And again, I know that, we've had some conversations about what we're doing with the weight room, and so we don't wanna make a decision in a quick manner and then go back and say, why did we put money into a space where we think there's better locations for the weight room? So that's why we're stating this is a temporary space that can be used for other things in the future if we choose to do something different with the weight room.
So,
Can I just add, because I've been getting a multitude of calls and emails, and I provided the schematics for probably an earlier rendition of the high school remodel project. And I think the date on one of them was in December, and there's kind of a misconception out there that we had made the decision and the swimming pool at the high school was a foregone conclusion before we did this. And you know what, like, in my mind, those were two separate conversations. Like, we had these drawings and nobody ever said, oh, but we're gonna, drain the swimming pool. That was a separate conversation, and that was a budget saving conversation. So we are being very transparent about all of this, and that's the point I want to get out to our community. If there are questions, and what you are reading all over social media, there's a high probability that it is not accurate and it is not complete, and to please contact our school. Again, there were multiple things that were happening between November and now, so there was no underhanded back office conversations and decisions. I just want to make that perfectly clear.
None of this project touches the old pool space.
is the weight room temporarily being moved to Cheever Field? I got that question. For the summer?
Coach Anderson runs a program out there where he's got weight room equipment in one of the locker room stalls, and he will probably borrow some of the weight room equipment that's earmarked for storage over the summer. So yes and no, it's by no means meant to be the new weight room, but I think I've had a couple other coaches express, like, the hockey team used the weight room last summer at 6 a.m. What's their option? They can borrow our dumbbells and use them at the Memorial Building weight room because there's not much equipment there. That was one option we gave them. Our new volleyball coach had the same. She works later hours. She asked if she would have somewhere to do weight room space. I said, well, I think once the football team's out of the Cheever, we talked about getting Amy keys to Cheever to use that weight room space as a makeshift. that's probably where you're getting the questions from. So is there a full-blown weight room at Cheever? No, but Coach Anderson utilizes it for strength and conditioning for his summer program. It's nice, the track's right there, the turf's right there. We have, I think, 2 squat racks in there. I don't, two squat racks in there, some dumbbells, bench press. So we're trying to be resourceful and creative with the space we've got, especially this upcoming summer.
And it's nice to hear that, the teams are working together and able to share the equipment, use the equipment. It's not all going in storage with no opportunities for students over the summer. Okay, funding. IRRR, investment in schools. A multi-phase investment in student opportunities. So this is a partnership between Hibbing Public Schools and Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation. It was focused on improving student learning spaces, career and technical ed, and district facilities. The total grant amount was $8 million. It was always put together as a multi-year project designed to support students in the community for decades to come. The grant development and the award from vision to reality, the original grant was written in September of 2023. It was developed in collaboration with Roy Smith, Whitney Ridlon, IRRR staff and partners. Numerous meetings were held with IRRR to explain the project details, answer questions, refine and strengthen the proposal, and then the district was awarded the $8 million in funding in early 2024. Phase 1 of this project was the Cheever Field and Owens Complex. Phase 2 of the project was the Greenhaven Elementary, and I think we can all say that as much as that is a beautiful upgrade, I think that we wish if we could go back in time that we had done a little bit more strategic planning. It is what it is. We are talking about being transparent moving forward and planning strategically, and I believe we're all on the same page and committed to that. So the project that I just talked about was phase 3, and so I'm going to go over a little bit of the timeline for phase 3. Phase 3A is the interior high school renovations. It's the proposal in front of you, or the motion that's going to be in front of you in a minute here, is to award that to Hawk Construction. It would begin May of 2026, this month, with a completion target of August of 2026. Phase 3B is the boiler building, the CTE renovations. We have received the bids and reviewed them. We will bring a recommendation to the board at the next meeting to award that to the low bidder, Max Gray Construction. And that timeline would be start date of May of 2026 and end date of December 2026. So as Derek and Jen stated, they've been very creative with the schedule to make sure that we don't have welding or auto first semester because we don't have a space for that. This is the thing that I need the community to understand. When people say, why are you rushing this project? This project isn't being rushed. It was established in 2023. All grant funds are required to be spent by December of 2026. There is no option for us to push that down the road. So please understand that we are doing our best to be transparent and fiscally responsible and provide our students opportunities. Talk a little bit about financial responsibility and our future strategic planning process. So we know we want to be thoughtful in planning for our future space needs. Before repurposing additional district spaces, such as the old pool area, the district plans to engage in a comprehensive strategic planning process to ensure future decisions align with long-term educational and community goals. Our priorities are to evaluate current and future enrollment trends, assess academic, programmatic, and facility needs, identify opportunities for expanded student programming, consider operational efficiency and long-term stability, gather input from staff, students, families, and community stakeholders. We have a commitment moving forward. Decisions will be made thoughtfully and collaboratively. Space utilization will align with our priorities and student needs, and future planning will focus on maximizing opportunities while being responsible stewards of district resources. Final thoughts? This project represents more than renovations and updated spaces. It is an investment in student opportunity, workforce readiness, community partnerships, and long-term district sustainability. Our commitment is to continue to make thoughtful, student-centered decisions that expand opportunities, support real-world learning, be responsible stewards to district resources, and prepare students for success beyond graduation. Thank you.
So I want to just talk about community partnerships. Another call that I've gotten repeatedly about pool space. And I think that there's a group that use the high school's pool. We've talked about that, right? And they're just updates that are required. And there was a question about the Lincoln pool. And I'm just going to say this, like, I'm all about community collaboration. I think we need, as a community, to be able to offer what our resources will allow us to. There's a group, I think, and maybe you, Carrie, got a call, but that are interested in, and asked me a question, and I'm only one board member, but what about the Lincoln pool? And I know that Tyler and his group put a lot of work into that pool not too long ago. I have no idea what it would cost to open that pool. I have no idea if it's feasible, but if there's a group in the community that can pay for the operations of that pool, I think we should welcome those conversations. I'm just saying, I think we need to work collaboratively to use the resources we have. So I don't need any answers here today, but if it's practical and it can be funded, why not?
I'd just like to make a point before, because I know everyone's getting a little tired of sitting here listening to us talk, but we talk about the Lincoln Pool, why not as a high school or as a district get together with the city, instead of building a new building, why not work with them to do that? Secondly, my understanding is the $8 million we got from IRRP was part of the package that went $30 million to Chisholm and $30 million in Ashwaubenon to build their schools. So the budget that we're working on now is the leftover money from Cheever from Greenhaven. And when these two other projects are completed here, there's no more funding available, correct? Okay. I agree.
Thank you.
I could say one more thing about the funding. The district does not hold those funds. They're not sitting here in our bank account. They are being held by IRRB until these projects are completed, and they will give us that money to pay those bills. So I just want people to know we can't just use that money or the interest on that money for something else. We don't even have it.
Thank you for clarifying that. People assume that that money is in our account.
Yeah, we do not have that.
So we're not gonna do anything with it right now?
No, we will move to item H, award the bid for the Hibbing High School CTE classroom renovation project to Hawk Construction for their base bid in the amount of $1,484,000.
Support.
Director Jeff, support by Director Mike, excuse me. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. We got a letter from Woodset, and I think this is different. In the past, we've gotten bid tabulation worksheets. I'm just kind of curious why we got a letter rather than a bid tabulation document.
Well, I was curious who the other one was, because we said that, it said that there were two.
Well, and normally that's not disclosed on a bid tabulation. I'm just wondering why they did
So I
not
can,
format.
I mean, going forward, I can make sure that they include those with you guys, if they did in the past.
So
He has it.
who are the other, like, who was the other contractor?
Matt, for this first phase, it was Max Gray was the other contractor.
And how different were the bids, I guess?
Not by a lot, but they were different. I mean, and we obviously took the responsible low bidder.
You said phase 1, but this is phase 3.
No, this is 3A.
When I say phase 1, I mean phase 1 for this building.
Okay. Oh, is there all phase 1, phase 2?
Yeah.
I know, this is 3A. And 3B would be brought to the next board meeting.
Yeah, I guess I would just like to understand the difference, if there was not much difference in that.
I'll share that with you after the meeting, yeah.
We're obligated to take the lower bid.
I think we need to rely on Tyler's ability to do his job, as we do with all the professionals, our staff and everybody do their job. If he's getting two quotes, he's gonna pick the quote that's best suited to fit the needs of what the budget tells me. I have to rely on him to give me the proper information, but I don't need to see Winstead's list of who bid, how they bid, or what they did. I rely on his ability to do his job to take the lowest bid.
I agree.
Well, I'm gonna go against that and go with Kim, because we did that with our old business manager and superintendent, and look where we are after doing that. So I would also wanna see it, I'm not, and it has nothing to do with questioning you as you and your role. It's again, if we're being transparent with us and the communication, and I'll say that, I mean, already in the last 4 months, I think as a member of the board, I've received more open communication than ever before, and I greatly appreciate that. And I would expect that to continue from everybody in every position.
Because sometimes you're obligated to take the low bid, you have to, unless you find fault with the contractor or whoever.
I don't think we're arguing that we're taking the lowest bid,
No, I
that's
just
not our
wanted
argument.
people to know that, we're doing a due diligence for the.
That's what I thought the argument was.
No.
Okay, so
I'll be sure to make a note for them to share all bidder requests with you.
And there's project labor agreement provisions. in
PLA.
the-
Correct.
it's all PLA.
Yep.
I hear what they want.
Yep.
Before we go on to, well, we have to vote, sorry.
Do you have to vote?
There wasn't a motion yet.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Construction.
Very good.
I'll second.
Motion made by Director Mike, seconded by Director Sarah. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Director Burkus, before we move to I, if it's possible, could we move I under discussion to number E? I understand there's some people waiting here for us to discuss the co-op agreement near the Chisholm meeting. And if we could move that to underneath other discussion items and proceed with ABC.
So you'd like to move the,
I to the closed session for.
okay, so we move I under administrative business. We would do another administrative business after the discussion items.
Just to say.
Okay, so under discussion items, we'll move on. Other reductions. I think it's important to be transparent with the community, with the board. You know, this information has already been presented to the finance committee, board finance committee. But we did make we will be making close to another $600,000 in reductions that are non-staff related and not related to the closure of the Green Haven. So I just kind of want to go through some of those. We are reducing some contracted services with our blind, visually impaired, due to the fact that we have a teacher who was deaf, hard of hearing license, and she actually went back and got her blind, visually impaired license. I think she's one of like 2 or 3 in the state that has that dual licensure. So that's going to save us about $48,000 there, which is excellent news. The Check and Connect program, although it is an amazing program, we are reducing those 2 positions. We will be reducing our building subs. We are going to reduce down to 1 SRO. We currently pay for 2 SROs. We'll be going down to 1 SRO. We've reduced our 14-hour aides, and those people are amazing people. This was another very difficult decision. A lot of those people have been with our district for many, many, many years. And we sincerely appreciate all they've contributed, but that was another budget reduction. There's a decrease in the salary of the superintendent as compared to this past year. Some technology items,
The closure of the pool was already drained, and that's a $55,000 savings. And then we had about $130,000 in reductions in extracurricular, and I'm going to let Mr. Please touch on that.
Thank you for saving the closed session to the last, everyone. So I guess half of you guys are on the finance committee, so I don't know how much of this you want me to dive into. Just a general overview, I guess. We are choosing to ask the booster clubs to step up more than they ever have, and a lot of you guys have noted how much they step up and help us already, and we're going to ask for more. And that's just due to the unfortunate circumstances we're in. So basically anything in our teacher contract, because that's what's driven, that's what drives all of our coaching positions and hires is job assignments listed in that teacher's contract. We are going to ask the Booster Club to fund the junior high coaching staffs, and that will save us approximately, I think I was at about $49,000 in savings there. They don't have to hire coaches on the teaching salary contract schedule, that is, so my expectation is they'll still be coaching. We are still providing transportation for junior high sports. If we have a home basketball game, we're still paying refs to be there and referee. So we're still funding, partial funding of these programs, but we're asking the booster clubs to help us out, and I'll work with the coaches and find qualified candidates. They'll still have to fill out our employee packets and background checks, but the funding of those positions would be on the booster clubs this next year, hopefully not too long, but maybe for a few years moving forward. We also, last year I didn't touch the activities portion. I put it on the back of sports. This year with the ask, I had to spread the love around, I guess, or not so much love, but so we reduced some advisors in other areas, like the drama program. Megan Reynolds and Megan Zubich have done a great job building that up. We have an extra spot there with the technical director. We're asking them to help fund the tech director. We fund still the lead director. So anyone that has a little extra there in the fall and the spring, we're asking for help there. And an assistant speech director and assistant directors elsewhere, we're asking for a little help. We also reduced game help. I know game help comes up a decent amount. I made about $3,500 proposed reductions in game help, so it might take a little bit longer to say get into a busy volleyball game, but we are going to reduce the ticket takers at a volleyball game, at a Lincoln, basically anything at the Lincoln, if you've been there for boys basketball or volleyball. The middle ticket seller booth won't be utilized this year. We'll use the two entryways, and they'll have to, maybe one, we're really going to jive in, and Director Duarte's going to love this, really going to push more full court press on using digital ticketing. So we'll have one door for digital ticketing and one door for cash payments. So we're really going to try to push that a little bit harder. I know some people are scared of that because of our community is a little bit older, but if you go to a game in Duluth or the metro area, there's some school districts that have no cash option at all. So we're just going to have to live with that and go from there. We made some adjustments to the hockey games and stuff like that. Site supervision, savings there as well. And then transportation, our goal is to, save about $20,000. We're putting a little bit of not a travel ban, but you get only so many games outside of your section. And our section is quite large. Section 7, when I go to our Section AA meetings, we're sitting there with Cambridge and Chisago Lakes and ADs from there. So you're still going to get those trips. They're section opponents. We're not saying no to that. But if you're going to schedule 5 trips down to Minneapolis, St. Paul, you're going to have to pay for probably 3 of those trips. And that's just where we're at. And we're hoping not to be there forever, but that's where we're at. Those costs keep increasing and our revenue is not right now. Speaking of revenue, we are going to see an increase. This is where this is uncomfortable for everyone a little bit. So I got the coaches maybe not the happiest with me, and I'll have some community members probably, but we're going to see a little bit of a fee restructuring. So our registration for sports is going to go up slightly. We're not going to make it a drastic. I've compared our rates with the conference, and we're on the low side. We're probably going to be in the middle now. We're not going to be Duluth, Denfeld, or Cloquet, Hermantown, but we're going to be in the middle now. We're going to probably match Rapids and Rockridge pretty closely. We're going to increase our adult tickets. We had a long talk about should we charge students to come into our games, and that fell a little flat. So we're not going to charge our students. Students will still be free. but adults will see a little increase in tickets. And then our Huddle, or whatever live streaming service, because I'm shopping this around a little bit, but if we continue with Huddle, it won't be free any longer. And we're one of the few schools that continue with the free Huddle online streaming. And I know that's a nice bonus, but at this time, we're not in that condition or a state with our finances to just continue to offer everything free. So, between the reductions, we're looking at about $98,000 in reductions in expenses, and then hopefully about $32,000 or so in increased revenue. We'll go from there. And there's other avenues I'll probably chase some sponsorships at Cheever a little bit more. We can advertise on Huddle a little differently, but those are the things that we'll get better at, I'll get better at as I grow, and but I got to the $130,000 in asks, and hopefully there's a little wiggle room. Just by, looking at, say, Mrs. McDonald, or Superintendent McDonald brought up a savings in the superintendent. We saved a ton of money when our coaches leave and we hire new. I don't want to get into that habit, but we'll see some just natural savings in replacing Coach Huyu with Coach Mant, because that resets from step 5 to step 1. So we do see a $2,500 savings there. That's not long-term savings, but it helps us this year, right? So there are some savings there that we'll see through replacing of some veteran coaches as they age out or to choose to not come back. Again, I want all of our coaches to have long, healthy careers, but there's a cap to that too. And when it's time, they know it's time, they're gonna go. So that's kind of where my reduction sheet is at. I can share that with those of you that need it, but we presented that to the booster clubs and coaches. Feedback wasn't terrible. Obviously not super big fans of not having junior high staff paid for through my office, but at the same time, I think everyone was understanding that we're in a tough spot, and I was able to hit this number without reducing a program or programming. Because if next year we're in the same boat and it's $100,000, I think some of you have asked this, the average cost for a sports program is probably 27 to 30 grand. If I have to cut $100,000 and I have no other places to cut, that's not one sports program. And then our boardrooms are going to be quite packed, and we'll be in the auditorium, and I don't think any of us are looking forward to those conversations. So we're hoping this sustains us and we get back on the right track and fix what's broken and get back the other way. Otherwise, obviously having more gray hairs coming and much more difficult conversations to come.
So I just want to ask the question for the public.
Yep.
As far as registration fees,
Yep.
they're going up.
Yep.
There is scholarship opportunity available, is that correct?
So our golf scramble, which is coming up June 8th, I believe is June 8th, that is a big fundraiser for us for that. That money is earmarked to help with those scholarship kids. So right now it's earmarked for kids on free and reduced lunch programming, which is really important to get those applications in and help us out, not just in my end of the world, but all of our state funding. And then they just fill out an application, and I've seen none denied based on that. There's been years where a kid asked for a pair of running shoes. We don't fund something like that usually, but for registration fees, yeah, we definitely help there. So yes, if that's something, they fill out a form in my office, we sign off on it, and we transfer that money from the Golf Scramble Fund into the general fund to pay the registration costs.
And I just want to point that out because we don't want to do this to keep kids from participating, and also acknowledge we're going through some really tough times.
And I think that's a good point to bring up with junior high athletics. There are schools across the state that, I don't know exact numbers, but there's a lot of, probably more as you get farther south, they don't do junior high programming. They put it on the clubs or community ed, and that's why they don't have the funding to send their junior high team to Duluth for a game. We didn't want that accessibility to be limited. I, especially in Mrs. McDonald, we see the value in junior high athletics. And it's not just to build up our varsity program, it's some of these junior high kids, that's their or heck, some of our seniors, that's why they're here, is to be part of their extracurricular activities. So if we were to say, sorry, we're not gonna do any junior high athletics, we can't fund it, then it becomes on the parents, like in elementary, to say, hey, we have a junior high game in International Falls, tip-off's at 4:30. Not a lot of working families probably are gonna be able to get that kid, so it becomes an accessibility question. We wanted to eliminate that, so that's why we're asking for help with the coaches, but we got a bus for them. We got, like I said, referees, umpires.
James, did you get the sense in your meeting with the programs, the coaches, is it gonna be difficult for any of these unreasonable? I know it's not easy to raise funds, but are there any that you get a sense where it's gonna be really tough to raise the funds?
Surprisingly, and Carrie can speak to this, they didn't come at me with this is impossible. We did say, you know, if you come at us and say you can't fund the position, we don't know what we're gonna do with that. Like, do we eliminate the junior high season that year? That's a possibility, but I've gotten more comments from my junior high coaches that said, we don't do this for the money, you don't have to pay us, we'll just do this. So that's more what I've received so far. Now, we haven't sent the invoices yet, so maybe that changes, but I think they understand the time we're at. I mean, and like I said, most of those coaches were understanding, and the booster members, a couple asked some very good questions, and maybe some pointed questions, but it wasn't, I mean, they're frustrated just like some of us, and I don't think it was a negative meeting. It was well received. One activity said they don't have a booster club, so how are we gonna fund their assistant coach? So we're getting creative. The newly formed drama booster club might take in that activity and have an umbrella to reach to them and help fund their assistant. So that's the creativity and collaboration that we're hoping for with all of this.
Well, and I know
So-
we've had conversations, I would love to see the Municipal Athletic Association come to life again, and to fund coaches, to fund equipment, people coaches,
Yeah,
and
yep.
equipment.
Yeah.
And, you know, that might be a really good new booster club to tap into.
Yeah.
to-
No, I knew the MEA was huge back, you know, when I started coaching here, when Scott was probably in Lance's chair, so, but obviously the MEA is defunct right now, and
Yep.
yeah, someone can tackle that.
The meeting that James held was, it was actually a very neat experience to see our community come together, boosters, coaches, activities, all come together, and instead of screaming and hollering at the current situation, talking about how we can make this happen for our kids at a time when we're facing financial challenges.
And you know what, Carrie, and that's kind of why I said what I said before, because I know you mentioned what a wonderful experience it was, and I want to give other people in our community to come together and ask those kinds of questions and get that understanding, because I think that's a path towards healing.
Well, thank you, it's, with that, we're going to move along here, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, thanks, Liz.
You're welcome.
So item B under discussion items is co-op agreements.
Well, I'm gonna do a 180 on this one because over the last few years, I have been against the co-op with neighbor to the north over here, Chisholm, but with what I see this district doing, this school doing with what we're doing with this, the opportunity for a student to get a great education here. If a student from Chisholm or Cherry wants to come here and play a sport, I am not going to try to force them to come here to go to school. I think we can prove to them that this is the best place to be with what we're doing, the amenities that we're offering, the education that we're offering. So as far as the co-op agreements, I've taken a 180. I know it's surprising.
I love you for
Some
saying
of the
that.
people
I'm
here.
really, I'm so happy to hear that because I know that you were very strongly against it.
I was very strongly against it, but more and more after what we've gone through as a board this past year, and what I see Tyler doing and what the district is doing with the upgrades that we're doing to the school, moving the 6th graders over here, I think there's a great opportunity that once a student plays hockey or basketball, goes back to his school and goes, oh boy, they got pretty good over there. I think I'm going to transfer to that school. So I think we should be open enough to let the co-ops stand as they are, and maybe we have a meeting coming with Chisholm here in a few weeks, so that's another thing that we could talk to them about. But that's where I'd like to leave the co-ops right now.
Thank you.
And I've always loved the co-ops, and I'm for the co-ops. I think when you want to sit here and talk about the community, shutting those relationship lines, to me, just is detrimental. And remember too, you know, I mean, we've had people speak here on it, how important it is to them, but James, correct me if I'm wrong, we do get revenue from that. In a time where we're looking to cut costs, we're raising ticket prices to gain more revenue, even if it's just a sliver of of a dollar amount, why would we cut this off to lose that money? That just really doesn't make a lot of sense. But
Well, if
I'm
an
happy
athlete
for you,
wants to
Mike.
play here, they have to pay the registration fee here.
Yeah.
Doesn't go to their school, they can,
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
again, I'm just,
Sorry for jumping in, but yeah, and Sarah, yeah, there are maybe some hidden costs we talked about before, and I just, full transparency, because I know the Cherry family is here, I think there's more conversation to happen with the St. Louis County School District in the business side of things, because there, I got an update from one of the assistant coaches, and they don't know that they're fully on board, so that is gonna come down to a funding thing. But Chisholm and us have that set up, and the bills are transferred fine,
Just for transparency purposes, like, we're talking about current co-ops we have.
only. Oh, yeah, well, you meant, yeah.
I think, well, my understanding, we have a co-op with Chisholm right now just for hockey and tennis,
Soccer.
soccer.
Yeah.
I would open it to, if we're gonna do that, open it to all schools,
With Chisholm.
with any school.
But we have to, I mean, like, it's just not that easy, right? Like, we
It's
have
not
to
that easy
file.
because it depends on what the state is gonna allow us to do, that's so we don't have to jump to another
Class.
class.
I mean, I think we would have to take each instance separately, and it would have to be brought to the board. We can't just,
And I think the supers and the business manager and the boards need to have an agreement in place before we start a co-op. Right.
And is this, but currently, it is only Chisholm asking for a new, correct? There are no other schools that we currently don't have that are asking?
well, we haven't,
That's why, maybe I shouldn't have
What did I
jumped
say?
in.
we
I'm
should
sorry, I
not
meant to
have
say
heard, or we have not heard from Cherry School.
Not a formal, no, all right,
So,
so just
no.
full transparency, right? Yep,
Yes,
they
I
are
mean,
still in
we-
the co-op with Rockridge, correct. I know they're here again, they spoke last meeting, maybe 2 meetings ago. So I just want to be fully transparent, we don't have anything in place. Chisholm, VCA, and then Northwoods for girls hockey. Those are our
So
partners.
with Cherry has a hockey co-op with Rock Ridge. Is that right?
Correct.
So they would have to dissolve that
Yes.
in order for the Cherry athletes, in order for us to form a co-op.
That's their first step, but I would caution before they even went to dissolve something, they had something in place, an agreement in place that yeah.
Why is the school being punished because if they have an agreement with Rockridge to play hockey, why can't we have an agreement with them to come? Let the student decide where he wants to go.
Like, why can't they still have it with Rock Ridge for hockey, but us?
With hockey too.
And not us. Can we have both? Can't they have?
No, there's a
State
current
school.
boys hockey co-op that says it's Rockridge, Cherry, I don't know.
It's the
Those
public,
are strict.
the
Mount Iron
school,
View.
not the students.
Yes.
It's a strict state high school league
So
rule.
they're restricting that individual to go, they
Yeah,
want to be able to come here,
for-
they gotta.
per sport, you can have one cooperative agreement. So boys hockey can't say, hey, we're co-oping with the entire Iron Range, and they pick to go to Rockridge this year, to Rapids, and then like that, so it's.
So we're back to the student, if he wants to come here and play hockey, he goes to Cherry, he's gotta come to school here. Basically.
Currently, that is our current
Right.
Co-op that
Current.
he has.
agreements we have.
Any new co-op, even with the VCA, they would have to come to you guys, and we would have to, and that's the whole football mess there, like, so anything we add has to be board approved, and I have to fill out an application with the high school league, and if the current one, actually I would have to dissolve, say it was boys hockey, I would have to dissolve the current co-op we have as well, because we're applying for a new co-op. So there are steps to this that, we
Yes.
can't just be like,
And there are deadlines, right?
yep,
Each
there are-
case has to come to the board, and I think before anything were to come to the board, we would want to work through an agreement with the two schools and understand the financial implications to both schools, and then you could make an informed decision.
100% agree. That's kind of why I jumped in right here. And you guys have been waiting for 2 hours, probably for this conversation, so I just wanted to be transparent, so.
And it's just a little bit concerning, right? Because time is of the essence. Dissolving co-op agreements takes time.
Yep.
Applying for new co-op agreements takes time. And I don't know, I'm sorry, I apologize, I don't remember. I thought you said maybe bantam age
He will be a second year bantam next
Yeah,
year, correct,
yeah.
so ninth grade.
Okay, and so if parents wanted to open enroll, is it my understanding that if you open enroll before ninth grade, there's not the 1 year
Correct.
waiting period? If it's after ninth grade,
You're
then an
JV
athlete
only,
has
yeah.
to,
Yeah, if it's any time after ninth grade, you're JV eligible only.
okay. So, I mean, just because of the timing, I just want
Yeah.
people to know what the rules are so you can make
Yeah, and I
decisions
mean,
that work.
there's factors that could change of residence and things like that, but,
We'll keep in touch,
yeah.
get all that together for the future.
So just to, so I have clear direction right now. We are not considering, we are, the opinion of the board is that we are going to keep our current co-ops.
I vote yes.
Yes.
I just need a direction. That being said, moving into item C, the Chisholm joint meeting is scheduled for July 7th at Valentini's.
Enemy territory. I just had it.
And the official meeting will start at 9 a.m. And so that will be an open meeting, and we will advertise that open meeting.
How many of our board members are making it?
My understanding is all of the board members are able to make that meeting from my communications with the board. I need to confirm with Christine, but aside from that, everyone else was committed.
No, not me. That was the only day I couldn't make it. That's why I asked how many are going. And that is okay, but
But Sarah, it's important that you be there. Good.
Yeah.
I might be gone too.
Yeah, and I'll have to see what my schedule's like now, so.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
I don't look at my calendar.
Well, you were at the last one, weren't you?
Yeah.
At Valentine's?
Okay, I will communicate with all of you and see where we're at.
Okay, for item D, moving right along, I'd like to put that on hold for policy review.
I'd like to discuss that if we could, because we do not have a policy
We want-
concerning this.
I want to appoint Jeff and Sarah, they're on the athletic board, and bring it back. And is there a policy we have to follow? We went through that before, so I want an update on that. Will can be put on the next meeting.
But from what I've been told and what I found out, John, there is no set policy that's ever been established for
Well,
naming
then,
rights or
then
any
they can bring
athletic
a
facilities.
policy establishment to us to vote on,
Why do we need it?
because I said so.
Huh?
I said, because I said, I'd like to see something put in front of us first instead of just agriculture.
We've never done this in the past.
It's always been kind of a loose, open thing, and that kind of bothers me a little
We
bit.
did it for the Lincoln floor,
For Mikhail?
yes.
Oh, that would be one.
Yeah.
So if you're requesting that the AD committee meet me and Jeff, are you putting together a date and time?
We can, I guess, should it just be, I mean, maybe it's a Tyler question, because are we just naming, like, I guess, if we're gonna develop a district policy for naming rights, it probably is a little more comprehensive than just me, right, Mrs. McDonald?
Yes, we're doing a board policy on naming rights, we should have a policy review committee that's looking at that.
So it's not me and Jeff then? Or we are part of that because we are part of the AD committee that you mentioned?
Right, that's what I want, something, yeah. For starters, I'm not shooting a donor.
There would be a 700 series board policy. I know I had a conversation with the former superintendent. I feel like there's a whole 700 series, and don't quote me on 700, but a number where we're missing that in our policies. And I feel like a lot of that relates to community relations like we're talking about.
And I have several examples of naming rights policies from different districts.
So we'll just read that and maybe add something to it.
I'm done with it.
But, you know, the one thing I wanted to ask is that also, James did a really good job in 2024 or in conjunction with the 100th anniversary and the Athletic Hall of Fame induction. I thought it was every 2 or 3 years. Do we have anything for?
Well, look to your left and ask where the budget's at for a Hall of Fame. No, but we moved it to 4 or 5 years because this was with Mrs. Potter. We didn't want to run out of qualified people, and we weren't getting a large amount of nomination packets. So maybe with this renewed push, we would get more, but I've been on the committee since Tim Scott, and it just felt like we were not getting, every time this comes up, I get asked about why so-and-so not in the Hall of Fame. Well, they've never been nominated, and for 2 cycles, I kind of helped pick some people to get nominated, then it's like, well, that's not my job to do that either. I don't want it to be like, oh, please, just handpicking who he wants in the Hall of Fame. So, I need a nomination packet to come through to the committee, and then we will be able to discuss and vote on it. But there's plenty of candidates out there that probably certainly have a claim to the Hall of Fame, and we have not seen a packet.
So let me reframe that. Is the Hall of Fame application nomination package and the criteria out on the website? So if we could make sure it's out there and do a push to our community, right? When there's people that deserve to be recognized and meet the criteria, that they submit applications.
So are you saying that that could be an alternative option rather than renaming?
Well, I'm just saying.
Anything, like with this policy that we're not going to be putting in place?
I think we still need policy, but I'm just saying, when I saw that, it also triggered that whole Hall of Fame, because I do know it was an amazing event. So I think I remember James saying during the 100th anniversary is to make sure people continue to submit even in the interim years.
Yeah, and yes, and I've handed a few out just from people taking tours, and they've asked about, hey, so-and-so, so I printed a packet and handed it to them. I think with our social media, this was probably the first Hall of Fame event we've had since we had that company, we got a lot of nomination packets. Plus we were overdue because there was probably a 7-year hiatus that it was on, so.
I mean, when we put it out there, we have to put that we're accepting applications and that, Lance won't let us have the
No.
event, but.
I didn't mean to throw him on.
But we are taking applications, so.
Okay, thank you. With that, I need a motion to go into close.
1 second, sorry. I just want to go back to the Chisholm joint meeting. Sarah, you were correct. I just looked back and I had spoken with the Chisholm superintendent and did say that the 8th or 9th worked, not the 7th. So I will make sure that we get that date fixed. So
But if it works for everybody else, don't do that only
No,
because I can't make it. So I don't have to be there.
And then as far as the naming the Presplex of Cheever Field, my direction is to try to put a policy together.
I thought we already had one.
Yeah, Jeff and Sarah.
No, I thought we already had a policy of what was being
No, you got
named.
a copy of it, you got examples of policies, doesn't have one.
So are Jeff and I part of this, I guess?
I think it's going to be bigger than the AD. I think it's going to be bigger than the AD committee because I don't think anyone here wants to be naming the science classroom after someone, right? And not that that's where we're going, but I think that's what they're asking.
I will work to seek volunteers for a policy committee. How's that?
Okay, with that, we're looking for a motion to go into closed session.
We'll have a brief adjournment before that?
Yeah, we'll 5 minutes.
We won't be having any formal action after the closed session, so do we want to make a motion to adjourn?
I would make a motion that we adjourn the regular meeting and go into a closed meeting to discuss the Greenhaven School.
Thank you.
If that's policy.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you all for coming in.
For over 25 years, U.S. Bank, located at 211 East Howard Street in Hibbing, Minnesota, has provided office and studio space for Hibbing Public Access Television. We are thankful for their ongoing support. Hibbing Public Access TV may be viewed on these platforms: hpat.org with video on demand, Mediacom Hibbing 802, 805, and 807. On Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Download the Hibbing Public Access TV app for your iPhone and Android devices. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Vimeo. For more information, scan the QR code and go to hpat.org. Hibbing Public Access Television would like to thank Mediacom for all the years they have supported our organization. Visit their office at 3105 East Beltline, Suite number 2 here in Hibbing, and give them a call at 855-633-4226.